The following is a special presentation of Tony Kurre Radio.
There he is, fresh off a damn good Need to Know.
Damn right.
And I will give you a dollar for every time you said the word right in that Need to Know, and you'll be
it's amazing how often that word comes up.
You're right.
Because when you listen to my broadcast, you'll hear that I was accused this week of being far right, and I said, "Well, thank you very much." Because damn right I'm right.
There you go. All right. Some people would say, as of just a few hours ago, late last night, that the governors of the Academy Award did something that is right. Did you hear what happened late last night?
I did not. I was kind of in my own little world last night.
Tom Cruise has been honored with an Academy Award from the 2025 Governors Awards. I'm not really sure. It's not a lifetime achievement thing.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure. I don't know if this is something where the governors of the academy just decide, hey, listen, it's time to give this guy.
Yep.
I don't know how this works. I don't know.
Yeah, something like that. It's an honor for somebody who's just been exemplary.
And he has been exemplary.
For sure.
And the Academy Awards are coming up a little bit later on in March, and you can go online right now and actually see his acceptance speech where he gets pretty teary-eyed. Of course, he was nominated for Born on the 4th of July, which was a fantastic movie. Jerry Maguire, everyone loved that movie. Magnolia.
I love Jerry
and then
Maguire.
He was also nominated for playing in Top Gun Maverick. And of course,
which I just saw for the first time about a month ago. What a great movie.
Is it good? I've not seen it yet. I just saw Top Gun, the original, about a month ago.
Oh, you'll love Top Gun Maverick. It's great.
All right. Then I need to go do it. So I see this and I'm thinking to myself, in sports, and we've been faithful enough, without a Greco, whenever there's a Super Bowl, I can have a Super Bowl appearing player out of Greco, not Super Bowl winner. I can't say Super Bowl winner, and I know that would mean the world to him.
Oh, God, so close. Stopped at the really 1-inch line.
Oh, my gosh. And I really know how much that would mean to him in his career. In his entire career, he would sit there and look at you straight in the eye and say, damn it, if I could have that Super Bowl ring, my life would just be so much better. And he's, obviously he's married, he's got kids, he's remarried, his life is good, he's a good Christian man. But to have that Super Bowl to be that close.
And also, as I mentioned to him when we had him on the show, to be denied because they could have tied the game if the guy gets in. Theoretically, Al would have had maybe a chance in overtime to kick us winning Super Bowl and be immortalized forever. It denied him his destiny.
And we've seen a lot of those kicks in Super Bowls go the wrong direction, and Aldo Greco, I'm pretty sure, would have made good on that one.
Norwood for Buffalo, 47 yards to beat the Giants.
Yeah, it could have happened to a better guy too, because I just love him, and I would love to
Al's
see
a great guy.
He really is.
There's a lot of good things of doing the TV show, but I didn't really know Al very well until we had him on. And we've had him on 3 times because we have him on every Super Bowl. And so hopefully this will be the 4th this time. But and we had him on to begin the season too. But Al is a terrific guy.
He's a super guy. So, whenever you can preface somebody by saying Hall of Fame announcer Kip Keefer or Super Bowl winning announcer Kip Keefer, that just puts you in a different
It
realm.
does.
And so what I was thinking,
stratosphere.
and I don't think there's any doubt that Tom Cruise, whether you like him or not, I really don't know why people don't like Tom. I know the whole thing on the couch,
The Scientology thing, and that's not related.
No.
Again, it goes back to what I just talked about. If he wants to be a Scientologist, that's his right.
He's one of the greatest actors we've ever had, period. A Few Good Men, go watch that movie. Tell me he's not one of the greatest actors, period.
Oh.
And I know he's been part of a lot of blockbuster movies. A lot of people say, well, if you're a blockbuster movie, you have to do some type of thing. Where the 4th of July was not really considered a blockbuster movie, but a movie where he had to transform himself into not looking like Tom to play that role. I think that was probably his best shot, and it was really early in his career. So I'm trying to think, musically, athletically, artistically, who are some people who are the best of the best in their craft that have not reached the top of that mountain? And just how important is it that Charles Barkley never won an NBA title? Did you realize that Ty Cobb never won a World Series?
I did not. I should have, because he played for Detroit, which was not usually a really good team in that era. But I didn't realize he never got there.
Barry Bonds,
Oh yeah,
Seven,
I knew that.
seven MVPs.
Yep.
Seven MVPs.
Barry Bonds'
Um,
best shot was his last year with the Pirates, the infamous Sid Bream play at home plate, where
Home plate,
Barry
yes.
basically had to throw out Sid Bream at the plate from deep shortstop, and just threw a weak three
And
hopper
Sid
in there.
Bream ran like a slow white Bronco. It
Oh,
was
I could.
I remember hearing who was making that call on the Atlanta Braves network.
Skip Carey.
Skip Carey, Braves win, Braves win, and he's like, and you could, it was like slow motion. It took forever for Sid to go around
Oh,
third and get to home plate. It took forever
Bonds
for
had the
Barry to
ball
pick
in
it
his
up.
hand from like
Oh
barely in the
man,
outfield grass. I mean,
oh
should have been
man.
able to roll the ball in and get him out.
I've got that call somewhere. It gives me goosebumps just to think about
Oh
that.
yeah, Skip. Skip was a great announcer.
Ted Williams never won. I'm throwing some out here. If you
Unbelievable.
could think of some Dick Butkus, Bo Jackson, Carl Malone,
Wow. What a list.
Elgin Baylor, John Stockton. There's another one that I was thinking of that
Yeah, him
I
and
think
Malone played on the same team, of course, and
Barry
the
Sanders.
Jazz never could get it, could never get there.
Talk about Barry Sanders all the time. Steve Nash. Well, and I know we're talking about this now, but if Lamar Jackson doesn't ever not only go to a Super, he hasn't been to
Yeah.
a Super Bowl yet, but if he don't ever win a Super Bowl, he's gonna be one of those guys where I think his legacy could be defined by whether he wins a Super Bowl or not. You could say whatever you want about Patrick Mahomes and about the Steve Youngs and even about uh, what's his face for the Pittsburgh Steelers who won 4 Super Bowls.
Bradshaw.
Bradshaw and wasn't one of the greatest quarterbacks we've ever seen. Dan Marino certainly in that lick, but I'm sitting there thinking to myself, or Josh Allen, another guy that just
I mean,
that game was
Dan Marino
unbelievable.
is interesting. He in his rookie year he takes the Dolphins to the Super Bowl, and then he played another 17 years. He never ever got back.
Isn't that crazy?
It's just, I mean, you'd think this guy's going to have so many chances to win Super Bowls. He
I
never
mean,
ever got back to the Super Bowl.
and so then I started thinking to myself, we go away to sports, but what about some of our Academy Award people? Sigourney Weaver, Johnny Depp, Samuel L. Jackson has never won an Academy Award.
That's amazing because he's been in some like support roles. You would think he would get the best supporting actor.
John Travolta has never won an
That's
Academy
that's
Award,
a surprise.
which is really a surprise. Glenn Close has never won
Huh?
an Academy Award,
Who's been in some
which is
great
kinda,
movies?
and then I thought, well, let's do some music because I know we love talking about classic rock, and some of these will blow you away. And if you could think of any off the top of your head, just let me know. Queen has never won a Grammy. Jimi Hendrix never won a Grammy. The Beach Boys never won a Grammy.
No way.
Diana Ross
Oh, she had so many
never
hits. That's
won.
crazy.
She won a lifetime achievement, but she did not win a Grammy. Chuck
Wow.
Berry never
No
won a
kidding.
Grammy. Janis Joplin never won a Grammy. Journey never won a Grammy. Katy Perry, The Who, never won a Grammy.
That's amazing.
Snoop Dogg, and I use him because he's out there. He's been nominated 16 times. He's never won a Grammy. And so I was just trying to think of some people, and I know because you're well versed in this, and you have a trap of a mind. You remember things that I wish I could remember half the shit you remember. But some famous people that maybe that aren't quite famous now that you think deserve to win a Super Bowl or win an Academy Award or win a Grammy or win an Oscar. Are there any particular people that you can think off the top of your head? I know this, and I kind of wanted to throw this. I don't really get the whole Wicked thing. I guess the second Wicked movie is already coming out. I didn't even realize I didn't seen the first, and I don't get it. I know it's. I'll watch The Wizard of Oz again. I'm good. But it's like supposed to be like Avatar, which I never saw either. I didn't see the movie with the blue people. It's the biggest movie in the history of the world.
It's
I've
coming
never
back.
seen it.
There's a sequel for that coming out, right?
I haven't even seen it. I don't hear anybody that's ever seen it. I don't know one that's ever told me they've seen it, and no one's ever told me it was great. But it's made more money than any other movie in the world. I'm serious. I don't even know what the hell that movie's about. I just know it's a bunch of blue people on some weird world, and they're flying.
It's some alternate,
dragons.
civilization. I really don't know much about it. I could call my son to testify. He knows all about it, but I that's out of my realm.
So coming from, and you and I have spoken about this, and there's certainly an opportunity that you could take home some hardware from a broadcasting standpoint. I don't see in my life, maybe if I had stayed in terrestrial radio for the rest of my life, maybe on outside, maybe I would have gotten a lifetime achievement award or something. I don't know, even if they do those kind of things, Marconi awards or whatever. It would it be nice? Yeah. Is it like going to Cooperstown or Canton? No. I mean, guys that'll tell you they go to Canton, the Pro Football Hall of Fame. It is like an enshrinement. It's right up there with the Master's jacket. It's like
Oh yeah.
it's like you want to sleep with the thing on, right? And I was just trying to think of some other different people you've thought of, or you could think of, and just how important it is to say you're actually at the top of your craft. When you're someone like a John Stockton or a Patrick Ewing or a Ken Griffey Jr., to know that you are a Hall of Famer and you've done all these things, but you've never won the championship. What does that say? What does that say about? And for most part, I've mentioned all these people. They're all Hall of Famers, so it's not like it tarnished their legacies at all.
No, no. I want to be careful in how I phrase this because I think that getting to the absolute top of your profession and doing, remarkable things, and in sports that's measured by winning championships. Unfortunately, you just rattled off an amazing list of performers that never, never got to that point, which is sort of the defining part of it. But how much of winning championships though is more team oriented? We've had this discussion about music before, that there all kinds of groups are in, but the central person is not individually in. So I think you kind of get into, if you're recognized as a Hall of Famer and you're given that honor, right downtown here, we have the Alabama Sports Hall of Fame, and there's a lot of great names in there. And people might go, yeah, Alabama Hall of Fame, big deal, but it is a big deal.
Oh, it's huge.
If you're enshrined in any Hall of Fame and recognized for your contributions, that's an amazing thing.
High school or anything else, anything.
Yeah,
it
in
really
a career.
is. I totally agree with you.
Like I say, I have a chance. I've been mentioned a couple times to be nominated for the Greyhound Racing Hall of Fame, which is in Abilene, Kansas, but not, because the contributions I've made to the sport in my career and the fact that I've been doing it, since I was in my early 20s. I'm still the executive director here in Birmingham of the racetrack / casino. So I've had a real variety career, but that would be a tremendous honor. My problem with the Greyhound Hall of Fame is, as Greyhound racing disappears from the face of the earth, it's only being conducted now in one state, basically in West Virginia.
Is it really?
Yeah, the Greyhound racing industry is probably going to go away, and the Hall of Fame is probably going to shut its doors. So
what happened? What happened to the Greyhound? What happened?
Greyhound racing fell into the politically correct situation of the modern era, where people decided that dogs doing what they've been specifically bred to do since the ancient days of the Greek civilization, where they were considered the pet of the nobility, and that took its same form in the original origins of Britain and England, where only royalty could even own greyhounds because they were the premier game chasers. They made a whole sport out of pursuing jackrabbits.
Weren't they Salukis, right? Salukis? Isn't that the Salukis?
A Saluki is a relative of the purebred greyhound, but greyhounds, the greyhounds specifically, and the term greyhound isn't because they're gray. In fact, there's no such thing as a gray greyhound. Gray was the closest to the Greek word for gaze, Gaze, and it was when the English took on the next mantle after Greek civilization fizzled out, they called them greyhounds because that was the closest pronunciation to gaze hounds from the old Greek language. So, because they chase by sight, they don't chase by smell, they don't chase by instinct. They see something running fast and they go after it. That's what they do. They've been bred to do this, Tony, for thousands of years. This is a long answer to your short question, but the extreme left in this country decided that it was cruel to
Oh, for God's
these
sake.
dogs, to kennel them, and to, that they're mistreated, and there was a bad period, and it's one of the reasons I've made a huge contribution to the sport, because up until probably the 1960s, a lot of the people in the business, when a greyhound's career was over, a lot of them were euthanized way before their time, because the common, the whole regard for animals has changed, and I think that's a good thing. I think
Sure.
animals should be celebrated and revered. But there was a time where animals were just kind of beasts of burden in this country. So the tradition until about the early 70s, where a lot of greyhounds, when their careers were over, unless they were good enough to be kept for breeding, had careers and bloodlines for that, a lot of the run-of-the-mill dogs that retired were put down, and that was an abomination that had to change if greyhound racing was going to thrive. And by the time I got into the business, I became one of the leaders in our industry to completely change that and start greyhound adoption, because the old wives' tale that these dogs didn't make good pets was total
Great
BS.
animals. Great animals.
They're great pets, and you become the talk of the neighborhood if you're strutting around with your racing
Oh
greyhound.
man, they are great. They're great pets. They
So
really are.
I actually accepted an award on behalf of the industry after about 10 years of this campaign, that we had reached the point of 100% adoption of retired
Oh, that's
greyhounds
cool.
in 1984. So that is one of the things to really hang my hat on, and it's one of the things I'm proudest of to have contributed to this industry, because I mean, we had to get rid of that old mentality and bring the sport in. But even with that, one by one, states started to decide that, and they bowed to pressure. And as more leftists got elected, they were able to basically get the sport declared illegal in their states. Florida had 17 tracks. They did a
Yeah.
constitutional amendment. They had to get 60% of the votes to win, and even led by, and this is how things cross over. I'm a big Trump family supporter, of course, because I think he's done a great job. But his daughter-in-law, Lara Trump, and a bunch of other people deciding that greyhound racing was cruel to the animals, got that referendum passed, and 17 tracks in Florida disappeared overnight. So that's basically what's happened to our industry.
What's,
It's
what,
still legal in Alabama, but we have not had it here for several years.
yeah, I was gonna say, when was the last time you ran a dog race out there?
It was in March of 2020, right when COVID hit, and the track suspended operations for racing until July or August that year. They had just introduced the new machines, and management decided it would be too expensive to start back up because the business levels had declined to such a small percentage.
The live action though is so good. I mean, it was so good. It's just to have that live action.
Yeah,
It was
yeah. I mean,
fantastic.
the sport of greyhound racing
What
is
about
great.
the Iditarod? How the hell is that thing still going? If
Yeah,
they're
well,
talking
that's
about,
talk about cruelty to animals. But
geez, dude. I mean,
that's another animal that's been conditioned and is comfortable with doing that. Nobody shut that down. So yeah, that's
and
that's a
hell, they don't
really,
even have any snow anymore to sleigh on. I mean, they're basically sledding through mud. Because I mean that's crazy.
and horse racing is having to endure it too. In California, a couple years ago, they had some bad conditions at Santa Anita and had a bunch of breakdowns of horses in races, and there was a huge movement to outlaw horse racing in California. But horse racing's got one advantage that greyhound racing didn't have. Horse racing's still a multi-billion-dollar sport and
Yep.
still a big deal, so they were able to fight it off. The greyhound industry didn't have the wherewithal and the finances to be able to survive the political onslaught.
I'm still trying to figure out how Trent Dilfer has a Super Bowl ring, and
Yeah, that's a great.
and Dan Marino doesn't have one. I don't know how the gods work. I really don't. God's got his own plan. I know his plan's perfect, but you look at a guy who just lost a UAB gig, his first job in college football. He got his 2.4 million. He's happy. I'm happy for him, but he's got a Super Bowl ring, man.
There's a lot of guys like that. Brad Johnson has a Super Bowl
Brad
ring.
Johnson has a Super Bowl ring. I mean, come on. I mean, And we're sitting there, you know, we're born and raised to understand that the quarterback touches the ball every snap when he's on offense, and he's the most important part. And we're not going to, you know, I can also sit there and say Jay Barker won a national title by going 8 of 23 for 37 yards or whatever his numbers were. I mean,
same for Buck Bellew for Georgia.
Yeah.
I think he had a terrible game in that
Buck
game
Bellew.
again. Only completed 8 passes, but one of them was a 92-yarder to Lindsey Scott in the last 30 seconds of the game.
Buck Bellew, great guy, by the way. Buck Bellew.
Buck's a good guy.
He's a good interview. Queen has never won a Grammy. It's just amazing to me, and I think like people like Chuck Berry, Kiss has never won a Grammy. It just seems like there's sometimes it depends on what part of your life you're in. Like music right now is so much different than it used to be. I mean, we got people. Beyonce's won like 30 something Grammys, and there's people out there that like Janis Joplin's never won a Grammy. Come on, I mean,
But does somebody like Beyonce just win every year because she's Beyonce? It seems to me like it doesn't matter if she, sings the ABC song. Oh, that's a Grammy-winning performance because she did some kind of country album last year and won a bunch of stuff for that. And I applaud her going different directions. I think that every artist should have the guts to do that. Once again, we're back to our word conservative. If you're conservative and keep cranking out the same old stuff,
Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift, as long as she comes out with a new album every year, whenever she comes out with a new album, she's going to win an Academy Award. She's going to win a Grammy. I mean,
so that's where we've gotten off track. I mean, are we really recognizing greatness or just the continuity of somebody who we've already deemed to be great and can do no wrong?
That's a great way of putting it. I like the way you just said that, because there are, and again, it used to be competition too. I mean, we talk about competition, and I think you and I brought it up a couple of weeks ago about how Major League Baseball may be missing out on something. We were talking about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and you were like, hell, there's some years where no one makes it in. And I kind of like that.
Me too.
Sometimes there's guys that should get in.
We talked about Scott Rowland, who was a career 280 hitter, had half the hits of Pete Rose, and Scott Rowland's he's the only one who got in 2 years ago.
But I mean, the game's changing now, and because the money's gotten so big, you don't have guys playing 20 years anymore, and so maybe 10, 11, 12 years is long enough and we have a smaller. We have a smaller sample size to start dealing with numbers, because these guys aren't going to be breaking records, because the LeBron James of the year of the days, maybe in basketball, just because they've really taken care of their bodies and stuff. And I think LeBron, if he's not the best player, is right there at number 2. I'm trying to think of some guys right now in the NBA, and I'm not well versed enough to think of some guys that if they don't win championships. But then, like Charles, he was with the 76ers, and he went with Phoenix. Then who else did he go with? And weren't they trying to like bring him in so at least he could win a championship, or give him an opportunity to be on a team that was going to be?
I think at the end of his career, he had started with the 76ers and had some good teams. That Suns team made the finals against Boston and took them 6 games, but just didn't get it done. And it seems like he signed on with somebody at the end. I can't remember who it was, but they fizzled out too, didn't even get there. So
you have a problem with guys being placed on teams that are like, I mean, hell, if you've never won a World Series and you're getting towards the end of your career, and you just come back and play for the Dodgers for 1 year as a utility guy, and so you can have that ring. I guess a lot of it has to do with how much you had to do with the winning success of that particular team. But at the same time,
you'll forget. In one of the real major, Shaquille O'Neal finished his career as a Boston Celtic, which is hilarious. He was on the anti-Celtics, the Lakers. But that's where he finished up, because I think he thought he had a chance to win one more ring, but he didn't even hardly even play. He was just on the bench, basically.
Yeah. And LeBron's kind of done it backwards, right? Where he goes, he wins championships. So I mean, and he's done it.
And that's the greatness of his career. To go back to Cleveland and actually win a championship after all that was really something.
To win 3 championships with 3 different teams is pretty amazing stuff. I don't know, just thinking about it, I knew you'd have something to say about it, and I love cracking your little brain and you talking about Salukis and championship talks and
so
stuff.
it gets down, are championships really individual or or they team. Now there are sports where it's individual, like golf. There's been tremendous, it's unbelievable how many golfers only won 3 of the 4 majors of some of the best. There's only been 6 guys that have ever done it that have won all 4, and that's really, in an individual sport, it's a different story.
Yeah, that's true. And
Arnold Palmer, one of the greatest golfers of all time, could never win the PGA Championship.
Well, remember, for the longest time, Phil Mickelson was that guy that just couldn't win the big one. And now, how many's won now? 4 or 5?
Yep. But Phil's, the U.S. Open still has eluded him. He never has won the U.S. Open. He's won the other 3 multiple times, but the U.S. Open is his albatross. So there's a lot of guys like that in an individual sport, it's different. But in a team sport, a championship is just another peg in your trophy case as an individual. But that list that you rattled off at the start of the show, that many guys that have never been to that mountaintop and experienced a championship, and a lot of those guys you talked about, Stockton and Malone and Patrick Ewing, at least they got the experience to be on the original Dream Team and win a gold medal.
That's
which
a great point.
Pretty comparable to winning any other kind of championship.
And most of the guys would say that's more impressive. I forget who said that, but it was more impressive than winning an NBA championship. To sit there and say they won it with those guys, to do something like that for your country is pretty amazing, regardless of how much better.
And
they
to
were
play on arguably the greatest collection of players ever assembled. I mean, think about that team with Bird and Magic and Ewing and Stockton and Malone and Patrick Ewing and a player that people forget was on that team because they were just trying to make it all inclusive. Christian Laettner was on the original Dream Team. Never played, but he was on. He's got a gold medal in his cabinet.
I forgot all about that. That's funny. All right, coming up this weekend again, starting lineup. We're going to get back after it. I cannot believe this is going to be the last starting lineup before Thanksgiving. This year has just flown by.
It has. It's almost the end of the season. We just started.
You said Texas sucks, and you were right. I can't wait for you to toot your horn. They just got blown out against Georgia, so we're going to talk about that. Also, coming up on our show on K4 Wins, we'll do this tomorrow. The CFP is going to come out with their top 12. We're going to get your top 12, the best 12 teams in college football.
Yeah, I keep wanting to make changes, Tony, but Alabama lost, but I can't kick them off. That's only their second loss of the year. I keep wanting to update it because I've got a couple.
And that loss may end up playing well for them because obviously they got to win their last couple of ball games. They've got 2 losses, but just because you're not playing in your conference championship doesn't mean it's necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah, and they still have the inside track, but because their strength of schedule, that's where the tiebreaker comes in.
They went out, they're in.
Yeah.
Regardless, yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
And they don't have to play a conference championship if possible.
But it's fascinating now. Alabama's loss really makes the plot a lot thicker in 2 ways, because now you've got 4. If Texas can step up and avoid sucking for one day and beat Texas A&M, you're going to have 4 teams with just 1 loss. Ooh. Texas already has 2 in the conference, so they're not in it. But it's Ole Miss, Georgia, Alabama, and Texas A&M all would have 1 loss, and then it goes to tiebreakers, which is going to be very interesting. But the other thing that Alabama's losing does, although it's already just monstrously important in this state, the Iron Bowl has huge consequences now. The Iron Bowl is magnified 1,000 times over now, because if Alabama loses, that's their 3rd loss. They're probably out of the playoffs if you can absorb that.
And that's all Auburn wanted. They just want their
they got a chance to the ultimate season.
Have something to hang their helmet on, and that would be it right there. I don't care who
you
the
mentioned
coach
last year Ohio State fans were saying before the playoffs, well, we lost to Michigan, so it doesn't matter.
Who cares?
If we win the championship. Well, they changed their tune when they won it.
Sure
but
did.
If Auburn could end Alabama's season, 2025 will get as one of the great Auburn seasons of all time.
You're right. All right, I'll catch you tomorrow morning, 10 o'clock, right here on the Coastal Digital Sports Network, Tony Curry Radio, and wherever you find Kip Keefer, he's everywhere. Thank you, my friend. I'll talk to you in a little bit.
All right, Tony, enjoyed it.
This has been a special presentation of Tony Curry Radio.